Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we're doing my revisited season expectations for the Boston Celtics. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I do believe that this team is a championship bust. They're going to finish as a top 3 seed in the East. And basically, I believe they turned 3 borderline All-Stars, you could argue, into 2 borderline All-NBA players in Kristaps Porzingis and Jrue Holiday. They turned Marcus Smart, Malcolm Brogdon, and Rob Will, 3 borderline All-Stars, into 2 borderline All-NBA players. And what do I expect? Championship or bust. 50 plus wins, maybe 60. And my audio is kind of weird in this stuff, so I try to fix it. Bear with it. But let me hear your thoughts down below. That's basically going to be it. And let's get right into the video. If you guys want to just hear a quick summary of what I think this is a 50 plus win team, a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference, and a championship or bust team. So what I want to hear down below in the comment section from you guys is, what do you guys think of the Boston Celtics, and what is your expectations from them this season? Do you think what they did this offseason, bringing Kristaps Porzingis and Jrue Holiday, was good or not? But basically, they had that package, and what they do now is, yes, they gave up Marcus Smart. They basically turned Marcus Smart and Malcolm Brogdon into Jrue Holiday. I personally think Malcolm Brogdon's injury must be a lot worse than what is being publicly made aware. And I think Robert Williams' knees are a lot worse than we think. I think the Celtics are banking on the fact that the injury history and the what they know about those players long term, they weren't, part of their plan. So I understand that. But I think the thought of, I love Robert Williams next to Porzingis, but that's gone now. But I do like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Porzingis, and Jrue Holiday being out there. So they bring in basically Jrue Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis for Robert Williams, Marcus Smart, Grant Williams, and Malcolm Brogdon. And the Celtics, weren't a team that ran 12 deep, but they're a team that I think got a lot more talented, because I think Porzingis next to Al Horford, Porzingis is going to be that 3-and-D rim protector. Al Horford will keep doing his thing. And I think Neemias Queta is going to replace Luke Cornett and actually be like that guy off the bench for them, and who's going to sop up those minutes for them. And then they'll play small ball with O'Shea Brissett. But I really do think Neemias Queta is going to be a bigger guy than people think. He's really good. Dude, he led the NCAA in blocks. And they're going to continue to work on this, because I do think Jrue Holiday is a better player than Marcus Smart. But you've gone from a 3-guard rotation with Smart, Brogdon, and Derek White to Holiday and White with a little bit of Peyton Pritchard, maybe Delano Banton, or J.D. Davison, But Boston got rid of him because his medicals were terrible. And Peyton Pritchard hasn't been a reliable rotation guard, but I like the idea of Holiday. I like the idea of Porzingis. And this talent restructuring is so they can get a lot more talent heavy, because they weren't a deep team, in terms of their rotation. So when you look at this team, what do I think their rotation is going to look like? I mean, right now the team is Al Horford, Luke Cornett, Kristaps Porzingis, Jason Tatum, Jrue Holiday, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, Delano Banton, Jaylen Brown, O'Shea Brissett, Sam Hauser, Jordan Walsh, Svi Mykhailiuk. And then they have Lamar Stevens on a training camp deal. I expect him to be on the roster, because right now they're at 14 players. And then they have J.D. Davison, Neemias Queta, and Jay Scrubb on 2 ways. I expect, them potentially to either keep that, a roster spot open, or, convert Neemias or J.D. Davison. But like I said, I think starting lineup, you go Kristaps Porzingis at center, and then you have yourself Jason Tatum at power forward, Jaylen Brown at small forward. You start at shooting guard. This is where it gets a little tricky. Do you do what I'm about to say? You start at shooting guard, then Derek White and Jrue Holiday, or do you start at shooting guard? That's where it gets, again, what I'm saying, a bit tricky. Payne Pritchard. So the lineup I just said is probably where you start your most talent-heavy lineup. but I don't. You starters only really play 10 to 15 minutes total together. So the lineup that I personally think they probably will go with is starting Drew Holiday at point guard, Jaylen Brown at shooting guard, at small forward Jason Tatum, at power forward Al Horford, at center Kristaps Porzingis. Six man will be Derek White. Then you have the boys fight it out between Lamar Stevens, Svi Mikhailiu, O'Shea Brissett, Sam Hauser, Payne Pritchard, Delano Banton, Jordan Walsh to get the minutes behind our man Derek White, who's probably going to be the sixth man. That's what I personally think. They're probably going to have Derek White come off the bench. He's still going to play like 30 plus minutes, but he's not going to start. I think the starter is they're probably going to start Al Horford and then have a combination. Al Horford's going to be the power forward. Kristaps Porzingis is going to be the center. Al Horford will sometimes play, but will be the backup center. Or if they keep Lou Cornett, I think Neemias Queta is like going to be their big. I mean, there's tons of other backup centers available right now for them, and I think if you look at the centers, it's really not that bad of an options that they have. Like if you look at what they got themselves, Bismack Biyombo that they can go out and get, Nerlens Noel, Gorgie Dang, and I mean that's freaking sucks, but those are a couple guys that if you really wanted to go out and look at and be like, JaMychal Green's someone that I think they really should look at, who's he's obviously in the back end of his career, but he can still provide spot up 3-point shooting and a little bit of, just contesting, a little bit of an inside presence, and who can kind of go out on power forwards. But another guy, if they really want to go and get themselves a big, Bismack Biyombo, he's a guy who has like a non-existent offensive game besides being like a lob threat. But he's someone, again, they brought in Wayne Gabriel, which, that's a guy who's good, but Wayne Gabriel also averaged 5.5 points, 4 rebounds. And, I'm not the biggest fan of Wayne Gabriel. Like, if you look at him, Wayne Gabriel, like, I personally think if you're, like, I think cut Luke Cornett. I'd rather have Wayne Gabriel over Luke Cornett, but I'm just saying, if you're going to give Wayne Gabriel a shot, give Neemias Queta a shot, in my opinion. I think this team just has better talent. They changed. People were in the dog. I'm like, they gave up. They got more talent. Like Kristaps Porzingis, better than Robert Williams. Drew Holiday, better than Malcolm Brogdon and Marcus Smart. I mean, he's an inconsistent 3-point shooter. Going back to Wayne Gabriel, I mean, he's a floor spacing center who can kind of hit the threes. He's got like a decent pick and pop ability. He's an average defender. But, nothing special about it. And I just think when I look at this, I'm like, okay, I like this team. I like everything about them. And I think, like I said, I personally think, let me give you the actual lineup that it should be. Starter, Drew Holiday, shooting guard, point guard, Drew Holiday, shooting guard, Jaylen Brown, small forward, Jason Tatum, power forward, Al Horford, center, Kristaps Porzingis, six-man, Derek White. Then what we're probably going to do is, I personally think Lamar Stevens is going to be the Grant Williams replacement. So that's 7. So he'll come in for, Lamar Stevens will come in for, will be the 7th. Derek White will come in for Drew Holiday and Jaylen Brown. That's like the shooting guard, point guard, Derek White. Then you have Lamar Stevens, who will be the backup small forward, power forward, who will split minutes probably with Sam Hauser and maybe Svi Mikhailiu just for 3-point shooting, and just guys who can play inside and out. Like Lamar Stevens will be coming in for Al Horford and Jason Tatum, depending on what they need. Okay? And then same thing with O'Shea Brissett. They're going to be fighting for those minutes. Sam Hauser, Svi Mikhailiu, and Jordan Walsh are going to be fighting for that 3-point shooting, the guy, like just provide floor space while also not being an absolute turnstile defense. And then Payne Pritchard's hopefully going to be able to play Malcolm Brogdon roles. If he can't do it, it's either Delano Banton. All right. And then J.D. Davison, Neemias Queta, and Jace Grub are guys who could potentially do it. But I expect this team to be playing with the Miami Heat or Milwaukee Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals, and they should
one of those three teams should be going out of the Eastern Conference Finals for the NBA Finals this coming year. If they don't, that'd be an absolute freaking tragedy. But yeah, I think clearly this is a team. I think what they did was they turned Malcolm Brogdon, whose elbow tendon's probably really bad. They turned Nerlens Noel, not Nerlens, my apology, Robert Williams, who probably has the same knees as Nerlens Noel's, okay? And so Malcolm Brogdon, Marcus Smart, and 2 picks into Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday, who are 2 former All-Stars who are borderline All-NBA players. Marcus Smart and Robert Williams are basically borderline All-Stars. So you turn 3 borderline All-Stars into borderline All-NBA 2 borderline All-NBA players. All right? And that's a freaking tweet that I'm going to put out. So I think that's pretty crazy. Celtics turned 3 borderline All-Stars. Borderline All-Stars. Okay, I'm putting this out in a tweet right as we're talking right now. Borderline All-Stars into 2 borderline All-NBA players. That's a great tweet. Celtics turned 3 borderline All-Stars into 2 borderline All-NBA players. Like, how can you be mad at that? That's a great way to end this. So this is a team that we didn't have to do it. I'm not necessarily. So, I mean, I am. That's fucking I like the Boston Celtics. But my top 3 teams, all number 1, Timberwolves, Magic, Wizards. Okay? And so my 4th team, number 4, is the Celtics. So I care for them, but my friends are not. That's it, guys. I love you.